What's up? What's up? What's up, Patreons? As promised, we get back and deliver to you the way it's supposed to be. Listen, I'm telling you straight like this. This is why Dame Dash is messed up. Okay, first of all, leave a heart in the comment section of this video on the Patreon so I can know y'all got the notification. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to leave a comment if you don't want, but at least hit the heart button so I can know, y'all getting y'all notification. I'll be like, okay, this many people got their notification. All right. So anyway, let me explain to y'all what's going on. Dame is messed up and he needs therapy because of how much money he made. He was never checked. You know what I'm saying? Like he was never had to put borders on himself. And the reason why he never would put these type of governors on himself when people would, say, I'm gonna respect someone's feelings. He would have outbursts a lot because he has abandonment issues. That's right. Damon Dash has abandonment issues. That's his main problem. Dame Dash had a often strange relationship with his father. His mom and father fought all the time, and his dad split from the mom. The mom was difficult, and she was going through what she was going through, and Dame lived with his dad for a while. He was like 8, you know what I'm saying? And once he was living with his dad, let's not, then him and his father bumped heads. You know, he ain't listening to what his dad's telling him to do. He went back to live with his moms. And his pops was like, don't come back. It was that brutal. Like an argument. Dame would just spaz. And was like, man, my father's a drunk. He's abusive. I don't like so Dame was with his mom's until she passed. And he was like 14, 15, 15 year old kid. His mom passes away from asthma. She was sick. She was born with like sarcoidosis when it wasn't diagnosed. She had an asthma attack and it took her life. And once she died, she's had asthma attacks before. She ain't never died before from it though. So now all of a sudden, people starting to check things out. Like something's wrong. So once they start to check things out, to find out things are wrong and what people are doing is wrong, all of a sudden there's this pendulum shift. You know what I'm saying? So the pendulum shifts and switch, and she ends up passing away. So abruptly, the state gonna go to his father and say, "Hey, you want your son?" And now his he's like got a girl. I don't know if he was married, but they got other kids. I don't know if that's her kids or he got kids with her. That part is not clear, but they got kids there. And Dame father looks at him and says, I ain't got no room for him. He didn't want him. So Dame went to a boarding school. So this is why Dame Dash ended up becoming one of the smartest dudes in the game when he didn't go to school out here. He went to a boarding school and got knowledge and got educated and ended up coming back to the hood hustling. But he was smart. Dame has never been locked up for hustling. He never was thrown in jail. None of that. Everybody knew he was hustling. And he had licks going on. But Dame never was thrown in any jail. Nobody ratted on him. Nothing. Right? So fast forward. He gets to Roc-A-Fella Records. He wanted to always be in the entertainment business and be a star. Because all these other dudes was being a star around him or trying to. And he was like, man, forget being a rapper. I don't want to learn how to rap. I want to be the boss of the rappers. I wanna have a bunch of rappers work for me. You know, Russell Simmons is who he looked at as a boss and was like, Russell Simmons is a angel dust head. Like he come to the block copping. Like and this dude was like, now he's the man. Like I know I could get it. If that guy could get to the top, Russell Simmons, why the hell can't I? Everything is good when you're making people a lot of money and when you aspire to be something bigger than what you are. Other people try to come in and head you out. They knew Dame's ego and his drive would be a problem. They observed and they seen that, okay, he gets it. Meaning Jay-Z. They got Jay there. They want to get him away. So Leo Cohen put a wedge in there and start having other people do Dame's job, and start basically letting Dame work with the new artists while, they focus is Jay. Because they didn't care about Roc-A-Fella Records. They just wanted Jay-Z. When before, they only signed him to this distribution deal. Def Jam did with Roc-A-Fella because, okay, he know Biggie. He gonna be the next one. So it was only because of the relationship with Biggie, and Puffy is all there and everything else, that they even gave that a shot and said, all right, well, let's get this Jay-Z distribution deal. And after Volume 1, they was ready to pull the plug. Like, dog, we thought this guy was the next one. We made a mistake. It was Nas. And people was there saying we should have made a push to get Nas. Because Nas had just came out with the firm. He was hot. Columbia wasn't going to let him go. And this helped out the negotiations for, Nas's new project. Everybody's waiting on the new Nas solo album. And everything started to progress. But as this started to develop, Roc-A-Fella was putting out multiple records a year to try to get out of that contract they was in so that they can get this 60, $70 million re-up, and people's like, oh, they re-up for 100 mil. I went 100 mil. But when they got to 2000 and they re-up their deals, and for selling and pushing out the album, when they resold them, the deal was like for like 50, 60 million that they split three ways, really. So all of them became multimillionaires. Dame got his, Biggs got his, and Jay got his. They split the pie three ways. Yeah, that 33 and a third. So everybody got they cut. Now, Jay gonna feel like, all right, what we paying Biggs for? Biggs Biggs was needed in the beginning, but now we kind of don't need Biggs no more at all. So to continue to pay Biggs, it's like, what are we doing? So Dane was like, are you tripping? That's Biggs. He was like, yeah, but what do Biggs do now? You know, we kind of don't need Biggs no more. He's like, I know Biggs is our boy, but It's business. It ain't personal. I love Biggs, but you know, it kind of look crazy when he ain't got nothing to do. So Dame was fighting for Biggs. He still wanted to keep Dame on board because Dame was like Puff and the personality Jay didn't have. They were opposite, polar opposites. Dame was loud and Jay was reserved. So they worked. Now, it was a total mimic though, Big and but the thing is Jay is that way. He was reserved. He wasn't outgoing like that. Like Big was reserved. Big wouldn't say too much either. Puff was outgoing. He was the party guy. He was turning. Puff was a hustler in a different way. That's why he don't have the temperament of Dame Dash. Dame Dash came from the drug gang. So Diddy didn't come from the drug gang like that. His pops did, but not really Diddy at all. His pops was involved in that situation, and that's just not his wheelhouse. He didn't need that. He had a whole different type of hustle. Now, this is why Dame Dash has all these issues. He had a terrible outburst in RCA Sony. He flew to Arizona for a business meeting, chewed out the the strategic director over in Arizona back in 2001. Um, they still did business with him, but that ended up costing him. The strategic director ended up working on another project and got a promotion to work for another company. Dame Dash had Dame Dash Music Group at the time, and they were trying to get I think it was a Roc-A-Fella. Was it even Roc-A-Fella? I think it was state property or something he was doing. It was something like state property, some type of kids program thing, and the guy who used to be the strategic director over there had already told all the people about Dame Dash and what working with him was going to be like, and it was a sabotage situation where they just pulled the strings and found a way to try to cut Dame out of the situation. And a lot of his business deals was like that. It's like the people in the industry who you cross over, even though they you stepping on them because they small. Eventually, they'll get to a line of power, and they won't forget about you. You'll forget about them. They ain't gonna forget about you. You gonna have it motivated for them to find you, and just so they can extract a little bit of revenge. So when you start thinking about Dame and talking about Dame Dash, understand there is a monumental difference when talking about Dame and the way Dame move and the way everybody else is thinking and move. Because I'm telling you, everybody don't move the same. Yeah, well, when you see things add up to a level that don't usually make sense, then you'll understand it better. It's like the whole world can see something one way and you can see it another. You know what I'm saying? But Dame Dash has these outbursts based up and pent up since he was a kid. Stacey Dash was never really there for him when she was doing her movies and everything. She wasn't there for him. They just related. They cousins. And he'd be like, oh, okay, do this movie, do that, do this. Dame is just, you know, he Harlem. He the streets. He wouldn't feel comfortable if he was completely out of the streets of people there didn't look at him a certain way. They was like, man, Dame trying to prove everything to people in the streets. That's not the Dame I know. That's the Dame everybody know. Dame has always felt like I gotta show them. If it's racing in a car, if it's capping on somebody, you know, or giving them the dozens, roasting them, whatever you want to call it, Dame gonna do it to build himself up. That's all he was. That's how he moved. Benny Siegel got two Hummers. I mean, not two Hummers, two Bentleys, all for Dame. He got his mom a Bentley and got himself a Bentley and took over the payments. So he's paying on these Bentleys. Jay gave him one Bentley and Dame gave him another one, and he took both of them. Like, I'll take both of them. Just make the payments. So he just took over the payments for him. And he's paying for two Bentleys. Right. And you would think, like, oh, okay, this is a come up. No, it wasn't. Yeah, because Jaden was like, we don't lease cars, we buy them, just like you should. I don't know who said that in the rhyme, but Jay was mistaken because they damn sure was leasing a Lexus that they had. They had another car that was on lease. Yeah, so I mean, all the stuff comes out to light that's done in the dark. It starts coming out to light. So Dame had another project with the Dame Dash Music Group that he was building, you know, and it was just being sabotaged by Leor from the jump because he ain't like Dame Dash, period. And Dame was struggling to get work out. Nobody really wanted to work with Dame. Meanwhile, Jay's getting all the push from Rock Nation and, putting out their work. The Dame Dash Music Group is being sabotaged because Leor Owen didn't like to be put on blast when they did the Blackout. He didn't appreciate that at all. And he made it his lifetime duty to find ways to make his life a living hell. That's what I be telling people. I be like, go ask Robert Stewart. Or what's her name? Yes, yeah, I think his name Robert Stewart, Student or something. Yeah, go ask him. I tell you, Dame Dash had a deal for art gallery that was gonna go from not just New York. He was gonna open up one in France. He was done with music after the Dame Dash Music Group. He didn't want to do the music part no more because it was really bullshit and you wasn't really making money like that anymore. So he's like, you know what? I don't even want to do that anymore. I'm gonna go to the other side of the coin. He knew people, and through his connections and with Rachel and her friends in the art department, he was able to take young black and entrepreneurial artists who were great and talented, who never had their work displayed. So when the Rachel Roy collection came out, it had all of these innovative artists, and the gallery was worth about 100 million because of the art projects that they had in there and the artists. Then prominent people start coming to the exhibits and to the displays and the showings. And once you start doing that, then you have people showing up. Money was being invested. They couldn't let that happen. They shut it down. They was gonna have multiple locations for these galleries. They didn't want Dame Dash coming up. They only want him going down. So if we start talking about what's real and what ain't real, this man did all he did with a hand, with a foot on the back of his neck. The fact that he's still standing, still standing tall, that is a compliment to his resilience and his hustle and his grind. I know somebody who lose their job, they probably jump off the 20-story building. That's only going to strengthen somebody like Dame Dash. Like he says, billionaires don't put their money in banks. No, you're not going to lose my money in a bank. Billionaires don't think like that. Billionaires are the bank. Hmm. Oh, yeah. All this is named after Rothschild. I tried to tell y'all that. That's why they call Roth IRAs. Rockefeller, Rothschild, they all ended up doing the same things. People said, "Can I have multiple IRAs?" Yes, you can. It's there, but they're different conversations. It's not like the reason why they don't promote this. Like you have to go to your bank and ask for some of these, and you'd be like, "Why they don't promote it?" Because you don't meet the requirements. The majority of the people that go to banks don't reach the requirement. Hmm. Well, if you had somebody that really understood how a family office really worked, um, now they got something called a virtual family office, or one that they call outsourced family offices. These are the newer ones because of technology that we got now. They've evolved it where you can have outsourced family office, which basically operates independently with advisors and accountants and different type of lawyers, and they will represent you on your behalf. You could have a wealth manager who typically acts as the central coordinator of everything, which they would call a custodian, that takes care of all of the problems for you, or some form of governor. But mainly, what I the way it was set up was multifamily office, which is what Dame has, or you can have a single family office. I think Dame has the multifamily office, but If not, then he would have a single family office. But I believe he probably got a SFO is common. That's when you have one wealthy family exclusively. Of course, that's why it's single, right? And you get everything in the controls that you like about that one. Hiring the staff, handling your operations, and all of these things. But now that they got this virtual family office, that's like it's cost effective. It uses a network of outsourcing random professionals to provide services for you. So you don't have to have a physical location anymore. So that's why I said they added this when they modified with technology and everything else. Like most people have a virtual office now. So this is a very virtual family office. But, the requirements still are the same. The practices, everything where you or discussions about okay, taxes or whatever, financial strategies, etc. Now, let's say you had some bill paying and accounting situation going on. You would have to go through the services of your family office. Um, you would have to set up a succession. Like if you've seen the movie Succession, they had a family office with that newspaper on that television show on HBO. That's how a family office works, where you see everybody battling for succession and who's going to be, next in line. That's how they were moving and operating. No one was doing everything on the ladder. It's structurally, and in those situations, you got to be careful of people trying to take you out because they know they next in line and all this stuff. But the way it's supposed to do is to basically take care of your college, take care of living expenses for your next generation of your family, your kids. Your kids will be set. This is why you saw a lot of what they call trust fund babies. These kids are profiting and living off of their trust that was set up, and most of them don't leave anything for the next generation. Normally, family offices are set up for at least three generations: the kids and then their grandchildren. Now, mostly to get a family office, I haven't seen anybody with people who have family offices. They have at least 25 to 50 million as a minimum getting into these family offices to start. Now, yeah, so to just say, hey, but him talking about family offices, it opened up doors for other people who didn't even understand what he was talking about, for other people to go in one ear and out the other. Rich people don't go to the bank, they are the bank. Your family office could also be a bank where you could take a loan out or you can give a relative some money out of it so they can go start a business. Right? Say they want to take 300K out of, or say they want to take 5 million out, and you agree, saying, "All right, we're gonna let them go ahead and branch off and take 5 million out the account, out of the trust or the family office. We're gonna let them take that, and it's a loan. It's like you're loaning them the money. They're out now. They can't come back in until they pay that 5 million back. So that 5 million they're going to use, they can go and start a business with that. And the only way they can come back in to the family office and the family everything is they have to pay back that money. So that can happen because that really forces you to have to be successful in whatever you do, or you can't get back in. because that money would have to be paid back in order for that person to be able to get back into the graces of that. Yeah, private equity is king. It's coming up fast. And private equity is going to be a lot of ways people are going to pay for things now. So when you get a chance to get into these funds and invest in private equity, then you'll understand the process and the way people are moving. They're doing so because they don't want to move any other way. This is the way they feel is best for them to move. And I'm okay with it because I understand it. Now, when you start seeing other people position themselves in ways that don't sit with the rest of the group, then you start to ask yourself why, or start to try to figure out why, these situations are appearing in the fashion that they are. We've had 600 to 700 different people try to do these things. Like Bill Cosby has his money put away where they can't take Bill Cosby's wealth. You couldn't take anything from his estate. That's why Bill Cosby still has his estate. He has a family office. So to see the way this is played out, and they be like, why did his wife leave? Why would she leave? She's part of that family office. You think she's finna divorce Bill? Camille Cosby to do what? Her and Bill basically stay indoors. They do not come out. He doesn't even really want to come outside anymore. The world is too crazy. And it's beyond saving. Every time he tried to do something, his own people was turning against him and followed a lie. Damon Dash has been the same guy he's always been. Dame is outgoing. He's always going to be that person. Dame Dash loves to help people who he believe in and see something in them. Of course, he gonna want something out the deal. He's Dame Dash. What person ain't gonna want something out of the deal? Where they do that at? He's gonna want something. Of course, he's gonna want something. He's Dame Dash. He's a hustler. If he sees something that he think that can make money, of course he gonna want to be down. Who wouldn't want to be down? You know what I'm saying? Like that answers itself. He's Dame Dash. So that was crazy. Yeah, so but that's why he have kids and want to be present in all his children's lives as much as he could because his father and what he had was crazy. He never had a balanced family. He want to be there for his kids and be a great dad for them. And to see Boogie resemble his grandfather was like, man, you resemble, my father. You was him. Alcoholism, drinking all the time, wild spats. He was basically looking at his own father all over again when he see Boogie. And he felt responsible because he raised Boogie in this environment, this hip hop environment. Boogie was a little kid and he's exposing him to all of this. The spoils, the fun. They seeing the girls being womanized, everything. Dame just wasn't realizing that he was being a buddy parent. He wasn't really being a father until he got older and realized, hey, I messed up. You know what I'm saying? But he just don't have the temperament to say what he needs to say because he's so passionate about it because he loves his kids. And it hurts different when it comes from them. The disrespect and all of that. So anyway, I'm out. I ain't mean to take up all your time, but definitely, if you want to know more about business on here, go to the search index for all my Patreons. You click, type in business, and boom, all the business pop up. Whatever you want to type in, you can pop up. That's what I love about the Patreon. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm out. Peace.